He likes me. We're pals.
We are. We go back a ways. We go back in the day. Okay, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in here with us now in the Media Center. And Dale drives the number 88 National Guard Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Dale, you won this race, I believe, your rookie season. Won the All-Star, Sprint All-Star race. I know you like coming back and racing Charlotte Motor Speedway. Just talk about your mindset. You're off to a heck of a start in the season, and you got the All-Star race, Sprint All-Star race here tomorrow night, and then the leading into the 600 next week. Just talk about your mindset here the next couple of weeks.
Well, we'll just use this weekend to see what we can do to find speed in the car and try to really prepare ourselves for the 600. It's a great opportunity to really be at the racetrack and get some laps in race condition to try to, give yourself the best opportunity to win the 600 miler. There's a lot of money on the line this weekend, which is basically all we're going to be racing for. But there's a lot to be learned too. So you try to pay attention to what you're doing, what you're feeling in your car, so you can use them notes next week and try to look what your teammates are doing, seeing everything they're doing, learning what that you might not have time to try this weekend that you might want to go through next weekend when you get the opportunity. So there's a lot to be learned, and hopefully we'll get our car going pretty quick.
Okay, we'll take some questions now. We'll start with Viv, then we'll go to Tom, and then to Woody. Go ahead, Viv. Microphone to Viv.
Viv Bernstein, New York Times. I want to ask about Chase Elliott. Given what he's done, do you need to speed up his prep for the Cup, or if you look at maybe Joey Logano, do you need to slow down his prep for the Cup?
I don't think you do either one. I think you can set a plan from the start and you stick with it. I think he'll, we have a 2-year plan, I suppose, that he runs in the Nationwide Series, and I think you just kind of stick with the plan, regardless of the success he's having. You got the proper commitments in line with sponsors and what have you. So I think it'll suit him well to relax and just not have to worry about that and just follow the plan that he's had in front of him from the start. He's really young too, so he's got a lot of time on his hands and a lot of time to get to Cup level and realize that potential one day. But, I think he can just sit there and relax, knowing what we kind of set out to do from the start and not really adjust.
We'll go to Tom and then to Woody.
Hi, Dale. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. There have been a lot of aggressive finishes in this race. 89 with Rusty and DW and 92 with Kyle and your dad. And what are drivers willing to do for $1 million these days? Do you think the finish of this will be like any other race, or will guys really cross some lines at the end here?
I think it depends on how within reach to the $1 million really is. If it's if you can reach out and grab somebody, you'll get pretty aggressive for $1 million. So I don't it just depends on whether somebody's within reach. If a guy jumps out in that last 10 laps and gets a good lead, what can you do? What are you going to be able to do? So if you can run a guy down, it's going to get interesting. If somebody gets within reach of somebody there near the end of that, at any time really in those last 10 laps, it's going to get pretty aggressive between both drivers, I think. So we just have to hope that it'll be close, and unless I'm leading, and if we're leading, I hope we're leading by straightaway. I hope it's real boring.
Let's go to Woody, and then we'll go to Bob Pockras, and then to Claire B. Woody.
Woody Kane with MRN. Dale, you were mentioning the 600 a little bit ago. Just wanted to ask you about, with Memorial Day coming up and you representing the Guard, if there are some things that you've done with them over the years that you've represented them that kind of make Memorial Day and the Guard stick out to you a little bit more than another, and if you'll be thinking about that when the holiday comes up. Yeah,
that's a good question. I think that working with the Guard is I kind of hate to say it over and over and over, but it's so different than working with a corporate sponsor, and it's such a heavy responsibility and a big, it's just a big deal. And I learned that working with the Navy years ago, that working with the military in this in a primary role is a big deal and a little heavier than the things I'd done in the past. The Guard's a lot of fun, you know, and they're creative with what we do together. And we've gotten to shoot some big guns and drive tanks and do a lot of things that people normally don't get to do. And I've met some people that have had some great stories about whether it be their experience in the Guard or why they joined. I always find that really fascinating to ask someone what encouraged them to make that decision, because it's such a, it's a life choice, and it's just really interesting to hear what makes somebody choose to make that choice to serve in the military. And obviously hearing their experiences is pretty interesting as well. But I think just the initial choice and why you make that choice, and everybody has a different reason, but I've had a great experience and really appreciate it. Really cherish it and think that it's definitely affected me profoundly, just to be able to get that close to it and see some of the things that go on behind the scenes. And so, yeah.
All right, let's go with Bob Pockris, Claire B. Lang, Jeff Gluck. Bob?
Bob Pockris, Morning News. Can you give us any insight into your match race with Charles Barkley today?
Yeah, I'm not supposed to tell you how it went because they want to leave it for the episode. I guess it's going to run on TNT with their NBA coverage, and it's going to run pre-race somewhere, Pocono pre-race. So I don't want to ruin it, but I will tell you this: I was really surprised at how nice the guy he was. I expected him to be a competitor, a little more aggressive in his personality. Just knowing what kind of basketball player he was and how he was on the court, he was really kind of fiery and aggressive and kind of getting in tussles here and there. Really, but he was just super nice. Just came in and was just really gracious and really has an appreciation for our sport, and just a real nice guy to be around. He was, and we'll just have to, save the results for later, but you can imagine how it went. So.
That's good. In other words, he wasn't terrible, was he?
He wasn't terrible.
No. Let's go with Claire B. Lang, Jeff Gluck, and then David Caravello.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Everybody talks about the All-Star race, Dale, as like, what would you be willing to do to win it and that sort of thing. Yeah. But what is the art of racing a race that intense and that short? Because it is a finesse race as well as just everybody goes crazy.
Well, yeah, I don't know that there's an art to it. You need to be up front at the last restart. Obviously, you're not going to drive through a handful of guys. As late as it gets in the night, this track, the groove narrows up. It gets faster and faster on the bottom, and there's no time to be gained trying to step up the racetrack or run the high line like you might during the afternoon. So it's a really, really fascinating racetrack in the middle of the day. But as it gets darker and darker and cooler, the groove really shortens up. So you need to be in that top three, I think, to have a shot at it. Unless those guys kind of get bottled up, banging on each other, and somebody scoots around the top on a restart real quick, I don't know that you're going to have much of a chance at winning the race. So as that doesn't sound all that great, but what that does do is it makes everything in the first several segments count, and it makes you really have to hustle in all those segments to get everything you can, to give yourself that opportunity to start as high as you can in the last segment. So the way it's laid out actually really pushes you to work every lap, every single restart, every opportunity you can seize a position, you want to do it.
Okay, we're probably not going to get to everybody, but we'll get to many as we can. We'll go to Jeff Gluck, David Caravello, and Mike Solarte. Go ahead, Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. your teammate Jimmie Johnson hasn't won all year, and he hasn't won like a whole 14 races. Which does that mean that he's like a normal driver now, or is
That's
he
like
still
a
Jimmie?
72 race slump, almost for him. Somebody gets that one, but I don't think it's a big deal, man. He's running. You know, they're obviously you know, still kind of searching for what what they're looking for and how, you know, they're still searching for some speed. They had bad luck with the clutch last week. I was really, I saw the speed and potential in his car when he got the lead last week, and I'm thinking, he can win the race if he stays up there. But they had the clutch and it changed their strategy. But I think I think it says a lot about the competition in the rest of the teams, the changes in drivers and crew chiefs. For example, the 4-car, you've got new players, guys up there mixing it up. We've gotten better. Jeff's team's gotten better. I think it's just a little bit tougher competition. That's just a little bit of it, but I think they're just kind of searching with the new rules and where to get Jimmie comfortable and fast and find the speed. I've seen them have speed, and then sometimes they just don't for whatever reason. And when they get in traffic or something, they have a little trouble in traffic. But seemed like that was the case last week when he'd get back there in the pack. He couldn't really do much. But if he was out front, he was perfectly fine. So, but they'll figure it out. I mean, it'll happen some damn racetrack like this. He'll go out and just wax everybody, and then everything's fine for the rest of the year. So they'll just hit on it and get going.
All right, we got to move quick here. We got two more left, David Caravello and Mike Solarte. Sorry we couldn't get to everybody, but that's just how it is. David, and then Mike.
Dale, when you won the Winston back in 2000, I think the winner's share was $500,000. Was that like the biggest check you'd ever seen? And remember what you did with the money?
I don't think I ever saw it, but I was driving for Daddy back then. He got all that money. But I didn't really care about it. I just, it was a big deal money-wise, but just him being there in victory lane and him being in the race, passing him in the last 10 laps like we did, and just winning it blew us away. And we were thinking bigger than $500,000, with how we were a rookie and we come in and won a few races and then we win the All-Star race. So, man, we were thinking far further ahead than that check we had. But, it was a very cool deal, and really one of the funnest victory lanes I can remember aside from the Daytona race this year. Really just a lot of raw emotion and just felt great. Yep.
Final question, Mike.
Dale back here on camera row. Mike Solarte at 10 Warner Cable News. Given the nature of this race, the segments that are run, and you mentioned you hope it's boring if you're straight away ahead in the last 10, would you be in favor of leaving the All-Star race here, or would you be in favor of moving it to a track where things could be a little bit more aggressive down the stretch in that last segment?
Yeah, I think that I wouldn't be opposed to changing it up a little bit. I kind of thought it wasn't broke in '87. I thought it was a pretty good All-Star race, and you're not going to have that every year. And the track's changed. Obviously, we got the repave and the surface here. The surface here is indestructible. I mean, we can't wear it out for some reason. But I think that it wouldn't be a bad idea to take it to Bristol or somewhere like that, and mix it up a little bit. But I really am in favor of the older format where it was like 50, 25, and 10 or whatever it was back in the early 80s the late 80s. And I just think the 10-lap segment at the end, it's got to be that way. You got to really make it a 4th and 1 kind of deal. But the track itself, I think you could take it to several tracks and have different results. I mean, you could run it at Bristol 10 years in a row, and some are going to be awesome and some aren't. just the same way you're going to have it here. I think that the venue can make a little bit of a difference, but we just have to hope that everything works out in our favor and we get an exciting finish, however it needs to happen. And sometimes it will, and sometimes it won't.